What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now, taking you all up to lock 7 o'clock on the East Coast. It's myself, TJ Zwarich. You guys know TJ, right? TJ, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Coming on later, we got TastefulTides Tim, Beermakersfan. Will's coming on as well. They'll be jumping on in about an hour and 15 minutes, but we have two, distinctly different slates because FanDuel included the Los Angeles games. The Clippers and the Lakers are playing later. The Clipper game is the back half of that TNT doubleheader. That is on the FanDuel main slate, making it a 9-game slate. DK decided to go with a sprint slate, cutting it off at 8:30. Lots of body parts still to be determined. I'll go ahead and drop the situation room in the chat. This is just kind of how it goes this time of year. About 20 games left, TJ. That's where we're at. 20 games left. We're at the quarter pole, if you will. And unfortunately, a lot of stuff's already been decided. We talked about this yesterday. Like, we already know essentially who's winning the East, who's winning the West. There's kind of like pockets of, these four teams are battling it out. These four teams are battling it out for this spot. But, and then there's a bunch of teams that are just doing their best to lose. Philadelphia is finally doing their best to catch up. They have to keep their top 6 protected pick. The Bulls are in a weird spot. They're catching up a little bit late, but, now they're in tank mode as well. But that's going to be a lot of the conversation going forward. We saw yesterday, the Rockets, not really a tank job. They just rested everybody. Everybody was fine, but it was the front half of a back-to-back. They decided to take the L in OKC. They're all back tonight with the exception of Freddie VanVleet. Should mention, 4 teams on the front end: Milwaukee, Cleveland, Minnesota, and the Clippers. Back end is also 4 teams. The Warriors in the back end, Steph Curry, officially questionable. That's the front half of the TNT doubleheader. Philadelphia, they just want to hit that sim button and be done with this season almost as much as Dallas. Oh, we had a slew of injuries yesterday, too. It's not really the conversation for today, but, man, if you survived yesterday, that was half the battle. Philly, Atlanta, Houston, Golden State on the back end. TJ, how we doing? It's a Television Tuesday, TJ. You didn't know this. You probably forgot about this. Get excited. How are things?
I wasn't sure if it was or not. I was ready to answer Agents of Fandom in the YouTube chat when they were asking if it was a Television Tuesday or not. But then I realized I don't know the answer. I'm not the host. I'm not the producer. So I'm not privy to these kind of things today. I'm just hanging back and enjoying the show. And yeah, like you said, only 20 games left. And we're feeling it. We're really feeling it. Contests were won last night with a Jaren Jackson Jr. 0.
Oh, yeah?
Tomorrow we're going to see the Dallas Mavericks without their, top 6 point guards. So they just got everybody hurt. That's going to be an interesting one. And today we got a whole bunch of questionable tags we're waiting on. So there's going to be basically a whole lot of that until this season is done. And excitingly enough, we're close to baseball already.
Yeah, spring training going on. Your Blue Jays, you got Max Scherzer. That's exciting. You probably won him 10 years ago, but still, it's fun to have Max Scherzer. Just so you have it. Bichette has cut his hair. I don't know if that'll change things. He's coming off a disastrous season. Maybe that'll turn around for him. Lots of news and notes as far as baseball. Regular season starts. I guess it starts about 3 weeks because it starts early in Japan with the Dodgers and the Cubs. I believe it's the Cubs, and a week later or so. About 40 days left in the NBA regular season, so there will be some crossover. And I think how we're going to handle that is baseball around 5 o'clock and baseball NBA 6:30, just the way, especially later on in the season, NBA news works. Like the 5 o'clock conversation might expire around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and baseball, you basically know who's in, who's out around 5 o'clock or even 4 o'clock sometimes, and you get the occasional scratch. The occasional we're monitoring weather or something like that, but you pretty much know what to expect as far as lineups and things of that sort. So stay tuned for that. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on his notifications. And producer Steve is going to drop the very first clue today for Television Tuesday. TJ, you can answer in our private chat. I just gave Steve the answer. Well, I'm doing it right now. He doesn't know the answer, but now he knows it. We'll go ahead and drop that first clue. And if this is your first time here, that's weird. Where have you been? But, you can get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you're telling me first. Tell me first what TV show I'm talking about. There'll be 5 individual clues dropped throughout the show. Jump in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. one guest per clue drop. You do not need a paid membership to jump in the Discord. Most Discord channels are free. The first clue is court. Court is the first clue for Television Tuesday. All right, I did drop the Situation Room. We're monitoring a lot of players with body parts. Paul George back half of back-to-back. He didn't play yesterday, but Philly probably not motivated to push them. Maxey is out as well. Philly is, of course, Embiid is done. We know Austin Reeves was ruled out for the Lakers. Julius Randle came back. He's already questionable with his groin. Tonight, we're monitoring that. Cole Anthony's questionable for Orlando. Suggs out for the season. Josh Giddey is questionable. Evan Mobley's been ruled out for Cleveland. We're going to get that from Cleveland, I think, the rest of the way because they're going to basically coast with the one and probably not push their guys too hard in game as well. Dick is out. No Dick. Grady Dick is out for 2 weeks, they're saying, with his pelvis. Lonzo Ball is questionable. Some other stuff we're monitoring throughout the show, but I dropped this in chat for the people. Go ahead. That's a free piece of content. TJ, what's the most important piece of most important body part we're monitoring as of right now relevant to the slate?
Well, I do find it a little odd that you're monitoring Grady Dick's pelvis when he's out with a knee injury. But other than that, I would say I'm really interested in this Bulls stuff because I know, I recognize that's not the biggest news, but I'm really interested in this Bulls stuff because I already know I'm going to be playing a lot of Cavs today. I have a rule set, and I haven't made any builds yet, but I have a rule set in Lineup HQ that I'm going to be playing at least 2 Cavaliers in every single lineup today. And so I'm very interested in the Chicago news with Giddey questionable, Ball questionable, Herter questionable, just because if those guys are all out, that's going to lead me to be just running it back a ton on the other side and just game stacking the hell out of this game and then mixing and matching the various stars while I utilize this value. Outside of that, obviously, we have Towns, we have Curry, we have the Philadelphia stuff, Julius Randle, Kuzma. But I would say outside of Chicago, the Curry one is probably the most interesting for me because I think Towns is probably going to play. And Curry, I feel less sure about.
Distinctly different slates, too, because on FanDuel, 3 of the top 5 players hitting our lineups are Lakers as of right now. And 2 of them you don't really want to play. DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith, just kind of a salary saver. Jackson Hayes, another not the most comfortable play. And then, of course, LeBron. LeBron's hitting stuff because he is spectacular, obviously. You do not have the Lakers on the DK slate. A couple Cavs are up front tonight. Good matchup. And no Mobley opens things up for Jared Allen. And then Ty Jerome, who's I was just checking his 6th Man of the Year awards. I guess it's probably too late. He's 30-1 currently. Pritchard is the heavy favorite. But I was thinking that maybe you can tell yourself a story, but probably not. Probably not. I was just possibly thinking there's a chance. He's been awesome of late, Jerome. But, yeah, he's hitting the slate pretty hard as well. And Randall, who's questionable, projects good also. By the way, it's interesting. The pelvis thing as far as Dick is that on the Situation Room, it says pelvis. On the injury report, it says knee. And I think I feel like I saw pelvis when it initially happened. But when it initially
happened, it was a head injury.
Yeah, he's had a lot going on, Grady Dick. Wish him the best, obviously, for your Raptors. Like Baji also out too. But still, they're probably one of the more uninteresting teams on the slate, despite all that. One of the lowest totals. I think it is the lowest total on the board with Orlando. Taking a peek here at the Discord. I know we have some guesses coming in. It is not Suits or Better Call Saul or Hang Out Mr. Cooper. That's a good guess. I see what you're doing there. Boston Legal, Your Honor. I see what people are doing here as well.
Did you look at mine?
I will tell the people it is not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but you're thinking of the GIF, I assume, with Carlton.
No, I was thinking of you're tricky. I was thinking of a basketball court.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the Carlton GIF where he takes the shot and is like,
no. I was just thinking like the whole intro song of that's what.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you mean I'm tricky? Well, I mean, typically, generally speaking, the first clue is not going to be like, well, this is what's going to be very, very super obvious, right? So there you go. So
I would also, we got some time. It's a big slate, but we still got some time. So I would like to throw out since it's Television Tuesday.
Oh boy.
a bit of a rest in peace eulogy for one of the very best sports shows of all time. Around the Horn has officially been canceled.
I don't get that. I don't understand why.
And to me, Around the Horn has always been one of the best places for like a wide variety of perspectives and opinions. Some people that go on are idiots. Some people that go on are wildly intelligent. And there's always some really fun conversations. Tony Reality's an incredible host. Around the Horn and Pardon the Interruption were the two shows that basically I'd come home from school every single day and throw on while I'm, making my after school snack, tidying up the kitchen, doing some homework, whatever it is. The Around the Horn and Pardon the Interruption were two very prominent and influential shows in my childhood. So I haven't watched in a few years, but I'm gonna miss it.
I like you have not watched it in a long time, but like I like to know it's there, and I don't understand because my understanding is that they didn't really have a replacement ready. It's like, well, you don't have something to replace it. The other thing is, it's like it's not expensive to do. You just you have like 4 different news reporters around the country on remote. How expensive could that show possibly be? I agree. Reality is a very good host too.
It's disappointing because it's one of the few shows left that wasn't like clickbait on TV. You know what I mean? Like it's not just there to incite reactions and get people fired up. And why is this guy the worst? Why is this guy the best? Like it's just
everything is the best or the worst. There's no nuance.
Yeah, it was a very like grounded show with lots of nuance, and so I'm gonna miss that one.
Did the Lakers win it or did the Spurs blow it? It's like, well, I mean, that's not how it works, man. I don't. It's not an either or, but that's how they frame this. And yeah, is PTI still a thing? I think that's still a thing, right? That's
as far as I know, that's still a thing.
Actually, I think they're talking about making it an hour as like a way to like fill in for Around the Horn. And again, I don't watch these shows really. I'm not a big fan of the talking head shows in general, but
yeah, I the only reason I still have cable is because it's not that expensive to package it with an internet provider, and I use it for sports. So I don't really watch anything other than live sports on cable anymore. I did watch the Oscars on cable on Sunday night, but that's about it.
I watched it on Hulu. I watched most of it. I thought Conan did a very good job. But it's anything of note. It was any takeaway from the Oscars from you?
Conan was great. Big Anora sweep, which was kind of crazy. I expected it to do well, maybe not quite that well, but it was an enjoyable show. A little long.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be 3.5 hours or whatever it is, but I think Adrian Brody might still be talking right now. He might still be giving his acceptance speech at this moment. All right, let's dive in. Let's talk about it. Tonight's slate. Anything big picture you want to say before we fully dive into the old game by game deal? Again, I ran down some of the more popular plays as of right now. Ty Jerome, Jared Allen are projecting really, really heavy on DK. Again, more of a Lakers thing on FanDuel. Lots of questionable stuff that can certainly change the nature of the slate. Some would say flip it on its head. I don't think it's going to fully flip on its head. Maybe. I guess Paul George is ruled out, but I don't. Philly's just a disaster. They're in the back half of a back-to-back. Grimes is still questionable too, right? Unless I missed that. Was he upgraded? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, he's still questionable. We saw Drummond. Shout out to Kyle.
They said we're trying to lose now. We can't have you out here dropping nearly 50-point games.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're joking, but that's kind of sort of what it is. And we talked about it yesterday with Max. He was dealing with a finger. He's dealing with multiple things. I think he's got what does he have now? He's got a back now. They're giving him. He's got multiple bodies. He's right there with Dick as far as the body parts. But we might have the fourth combination of Lonnie Walker the fourth and Ricky Council the fourth running the show. Really, it could be a disaster. But yeah, they're currently 14-point dogs versus Minnesota. We're looking at, 11, but that could get knocked down to, I think, 9 potentially live bodies. Anything you want to mention before we dive in?
No, it's going to be a fun day to play some Cavs. Lots of injuries to wait on, but hopefully they'll start coming as we start talking about these games.
Rockets, Pacers, 231 is the total. Rockets back half of back-to-back and travel, but again, most of their players rested yesterday. They gave him fake injuries. They are 4-point dogs here tonight. Şengün is back, not on the injury report. The only one on there that's still legit hurt is FVV, Freddie VanVleet. He's got an ankle. Jock Landale is questionable. Who cares? Pacers, well, Mathurin is out, which opens things up a little bit for some of their guard stuff. But yeah, we have the Pacers and the Rockets. How do we feel about this game?
I like it a lot more on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel. On FanDuel, where there's so many games, I think I might just kind of do my best to ignore these first 2 games and then just hope for the best. Hope nobody goes too crazy. On DraftKings, though, where the slate's a little bit smaller, I am going to have some interest, I think, primarily with Houston guys as like low-owned tournament options. But I don't hate a little bit of Indy either, just because there are some salary-saving guys like Neesmith and Nembhard who I think are in play. I think Siakam, Turner, and Halliburton all have ceilings for their price tag. But I don't really like any of them all that much. My favorite play in the game is probably Jalen Green for Houston, but I think Şengün, Thompson, even Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Dylan Brooks, they're all viable. It's tough because I feel like there's a lot of guys you can play in this game, but not necessarily a lot of guys that I want to play in this game. I'm going to set a limit of maximum 1 Houston, maximum 1 Indiana player in any lineup that I play today. And then with that, I'm totally fine getting to Şengün, Thompson, Green, Eason on Houston, or Halliburton, Turner, Nembhard, Neesmith on Indiana. But again, not more than 1 per team of any of these Houston or Indiana players.
You're putting in rules. That means I assume you're running a bunch of lineups today. How many lineups are you running?
150.
Okay.
I've been doing really well lately, and it's like annoying because I haven't won. Like I haven't finished first or second or third in a GPP, but like I took last night off, which I'm thankful for because it was so crazy. But prior to that, I was on like 5 straight nights of being profitable in MME, which is just
That's
weird.
Tough.
And the other night I had 5 teams finish in the top 50. And I was like, damn, we're close, but we can't complain about profit. Profit is profit, but had some sweats that haven't quite reached the last few nights.
I'm not sure what you're playing. Are you playing like the 15 that has 33% up top? Because then even then
no. Okay. Just the mini max. I like doing I've found that I just enjoy running 150 lineups for NBA and MLB more than anything else. And so I would rather play within a modest bankroll and do that as opposed to, just burn a couple $1,000 every night. Because when you go on a down streak, that can get bad fast.
Oh, yeah. It can turn pretty quickly for sure.
Whereas this, if it's like, you lose $75 few nights in a row, who really cares?
The Jalen Smith last night was very weird because everybody got the night off with fake injuries. But he kind of got a half a game off, sort of. Like I don't know if you saw, he didn't play the fourth quarter. Once he left his rotation in the third, he was done. He played 24 minutes and change. Just odd. I just don't understand why that happened. I don't know if that was planned. I don't know why. I mean, he was playing okay, as far as I can tell. But I don't think they want to push him too hard. But just give him the night off. But they didn't do that. They gave him a half measure, and he played 24 minutes. I assume going forward, it's normal. 34 minutes is a projection tonight. Most popular plays in this game as of right now is Miles Turner on DK at 18%, Pascal at 17%. You mentioned Max 1. Yeah, Nembhard getting 17% and Neesmith. That's mostly because we're starved for value, but value might open up, and it might open up after 7 o'clock. So like you said, maxing it at 1, I think is a pretty good idea because better stuff probably opens up, possibly opens up, and possibly opens up after 7. And I don't know if I want to be over the field on Nembhard and Naismith if the field's pretty heavy, if, things crack a certain way later on. So I do like that call. Anything else as far as Houston, Indiana? You moving on?
Yeah, we can move on. I would say my favorite Houston player is either Green or Eason. And for Indiana, it's either Nembhard or Neesmith. But just, again, max 1.
Raptors. Your Raptors are in Orlando. They're playing basketball. 207.5 is the total. That is paltry. Orlando is a 7.5-point favorite here. This is the other 7 o'clock game. As far as Toronto, we talk about Dick being out. No Grady. He's got a knee. He's got a head. He's got a pelvis. He's got a lot of body parts, all of which point him to being out. Agbaji is still out. Brandon Ingram, who knows if he'll play this season? Probably not. Orlando, Cole is officially questionable. Suggs, like we said, out for the season, and Mo Wagner, have not seen him in a long time. This is not a very appealing game environment. Can you talk yourself into anything as far as Raptors Magic? What do you got?
No, not really. I'm going to fully X out the Raptors today. Not going to mess around with any of them. They just got a bunch of low fantasy point per minute bench guys who are going to play 15 to 20 minutes today and not really do anything. And then Orlando plays slow and they play really good and really good defense. And so I don't really feel any need to get to Barnes, Barrett quickly. Barrett's price is really, really nice, as is quickly, but not against the Orlando. There's just not really a ceiling on this slate, I don't think. So no Toronto for me. Then on the Orlando side, this is another team that's going to get a maximum 1 rule. Not going to play more than, especially with this being right at 7 o'clock, I'm not going to be playing 2, 3, 4 Orlando Magic. I'll play maximum 1. And even then, I'll still be underweight on guys like Banchero, Franz Wagner. I do think Wendell Carter Jr. is a little bit interesting. We just saw him smash in this game a couple days ago in this exact same matchup. If Cole Anthony's out, I guess you can look at guys like Anthony Black, but even still, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Black, not a big usage guy, not a great fantasy point minute player, but he probably would be the one jumping in the starting lineup, I'm guessing. He's 4.2, 21 minutes currently, but not the best fantasy point per minute player. It is weird. Toronto only has, I think, 10 players. And most of them are pretty cheap. And it's like, we're still kind of like, nah. And I sort of feel the same. Maybe Walter is a guy like if possibly, but I have a hard time getting excited about it. If this is your team and you can't get excited about it, that's kind of where I'm at too. Sure, if you're running 150, you have some Banchero, have some Wagner, probably wouldn't play them together. Like you said, I think you said you capped at 1, right? Yeah. Yeah, I do like that call. Let's go ahead and we're done. We're done with Orlando and Toronto. That's it. Yeah. It's gross for 2 minutes and we can move along.
This is why we can mess around talking about the Oscars, talking about these different things, because I knew these first 2 games were going to be absolute nonsense.
Well, the Warriors and New York, I don't know if it's going to be nonsense, but as of right now, there's not a ton of clarity,
Let's do Milwaukee and Atlanta first, just in case.
Okay.
Just in case we happen to get that news in the next 5 minutes at 5:30.
You know what New York does. At 6 o'clock, they're going to tell us the cat is questionable.
I know. And he's going to be in, but maybe we get Steph because Steve Kerr is ultra reliable at injury reporting.
That's also it's a national TV, TNT. Maybe there's more reporters there that can maybe somebody can break a story and give it to us. But if Steph was out, they also probably wouldn't want to be too quick to tell you, hey, don't tune in tonight because Steph's not playing. They don't want to tell you what are your favorite player? Don't watch. He's not playing. But yeah, Steph and Cat are questionable. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Milwaukee, Atlanta. We just went from a really bad game environment. This one's pretty good. 243.5. That is the total. Big boy total for sure. It's kind of tight, right? Atlanta back half of back-to-back. They are 5-point dogs here. At home versus the Bucks. Best play in the slate, raw points, pretty clearly projection-wise, is Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo officially probable. He's always probable. Every once in a while you get that rug pull, but I assume he is good to go. This is the front half of back-to-back, right? Let me double-check. I think it's front half of back-to-back for Milwaukee. Kuzma is questionable. He's got an ankle. Connaughton's out. Of course, Bobby Porter's still serving his suspension. Atlanta, the only difference here is that Niang, Georges Niang, is back from his injury, sickness. I guess he was ill yesterday. Otherwise, nothing has changed. And Trae Young is always listed as probable ever since they got fined with his Achilles. Nance still out. Krejci still out. Jalen Johnson still out. How are we feeling about the Bucks and the Hawks?
Yeah, a lot more interest in this one than the first 2. The Bucks, I think, become quite interesting if we get Kyle Kuzma listed out. Bumps up Lillard and Giannis a little bit, but more so, I think it makes a guy like Brook Lopez really stand out to me. Gary Trent becomes in play. The gross value like Kevin Porter Jr., AJ Green potentially comes in play, which again, we don't love, but just the fact that there's not really any value on this slate, it's absolutely in play. I'm going to keep touting Brook Lopez basically every night because his price isn't going up. But since Bobby Portis went down, he's playing right around 30 minutes as a floor every single night. And 5X is kind of playing like a floor every single night. So one of these games, he's going to get hot from the 3-point line. One of these games, he's going to block a few shots. And then all of a sudden we end up with 45 points at a 5'8" Brook Lopez. So I do like him quite a bit for tournaments. I'll talk about these guys, like the cheap options, and transition it into Atlanta. Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Georges Niang, Terrence Mann, Clint Capella, Zach Risa-Shea. Yes, you can play them. No, they're not great. But they're in play because we don't have very much value today. Anyone between 4 and 5K in this game, you can play. And it's going to be fine. And they're probably going to give you 10 to 22 points, but probably not a lot more than that. I don't mind Risa-Shea. I don't mind Carousel Verth at only 5,200. He's been playing a lot better lately. Onyeka Okongwu is shown he's got a massive ceiling. And Dyson Daniels is just going to keep getting 8 or 9 steals every single freaking game. And
you see the play yesterday?
Yeah, the game winner. Like, just incredible stuff. I have no interest in Trae Young at 10K. That's just too expensive. There's other guys I'd rather pay for. Would way rather play Lillard for $1,000 less. But basically anyone else that will get minutes aside from Barlow on the Hawks, I think is in play.
Kuzma being questionable, if he happens to get ruled out, that's 33 minutes to get delegated. And you ran down the player.
That's kind of why I'm considering these bench guys for Milwaukee, is because I do think Kuzma's going to be out.
I like you could, the way you framed it. I don't want to play Gary Trent. I don't want to play Prince. I don't want to play Green. But again, depending on what sort of values left, and if Kuzma's out, those guys will all get incremental bumps. I think Trent would start. I think. And it's which one of those guys are making their threes. I have no idea, but that's kind of what it comes down to. Probably cap it at 1, but they would all get and Giannis would get a little bit of a bump as well, as would Lillard. I'm kind of surprised we currently have Giannis at only 15% ownership on DK, but I think that's in part to as of right now, there's not a ton of value that could change. And then, as the value opens up, Giannis's ownership would go up. How much are you prioritizing Giannis, who, let's see, as far as the entire slate, he's got a raw points projection that is 7 points higher than everybody else.
I'm probably not going to prioritize him a ton just because I do think I'm likely going to be building in the mid-range a little bit more than up top. But like a lot's going to depend on this ownership projections as we get closer to lock as well, because if he's really only going to be 15%, and I'm playing 150 lineups, I can easily get over that. That's not a difficult number to get overweight on. So even if I don't love him, I can still get there just because we know Giannis has a ceiling. But he's not going to be a main priority for me. Like, I'm probably more likely to utilize this game as value options if Towns is ruled in, Curry's ruled in, the Chicago guys are ruled in. That's the likely scenario where I start getting a ton of Milwaukee and Atlanta, and it's probably these guys 5K and below.
Yeah, I want to get to Giannis. As somebody that plays like mostly single entry stuff, 3-entry max stuff, and I'll dabble here and there as far as a few other lineups. But my main lineups, I really want to try to get the Giannis, especially right now. He's not projecting to hit a ton of them. 22% is what he's hitting in the lineups that I ran. And he's not hitting the optimal as of right now. He's in the second one for what it's worth. And again, I think stuff's going to open up where that ownership does expand. We're still, an hour and a half before lock. And, the closer we get in, the more information we have, and the more body parts that are potentially ruled out should give the people a second clue for today's. By the way, Mathurin officially ruled out for Indiana as expected. First clue is scrolling. It is report. The second clue for Television Tuesday is watch. Watch. All right. Get your guesses into the Discord. First person to tell me, get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders premium football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, all the sports with the exception of NASCAR. NASCAR, of course, is a la carte. It is 5:30. 5:30 injury report. Anything coming through? I don't think so. Wait, you have anything? No, just Washington. I think that's worthless.
Yeah, in the last hour, we've been just getting a ton of stuff for tomorrow.
Yeah, Jordan Poole is off the injury report for tomorrow. Okay, let's jump back to Golden State. I should say jump back. They're both 7:30. Front half of the TNT game, Warriors. Back half of a back-to-back, and it's travel as well in the Garden. 227. That is the total tonight. Of course, again, it's tricky to do analysis because the two of the biggest pieces on these teams. Cat is questionable personal issue. Don't know what's going on with him, but hopefully things are well. A lot of times it's like a child, but who knows what's going on, but hopefully things are okay. Otherwise, they are clean. Same deal with Golden State. Steph's questionable the back half of a back-to-back. And, Gary Payton's got that nose, so he cannot play. He played yesterday with a nose. Now he still has a nose, but it's hurting too much. He cannot play. Kuminga is still out, coming back soon. Do you want to give me like an if-then? I guess Pods will be the biggest benefactor if Curry happens to sit out.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do an if-then on this, actually, just because I don't really care about the game if both of these guys are in. If they're out, that's when things to me start getting very, very interesting. Now, we do have if-thens posted for both of these situations in the situation room right now. And so if Steph Curry is out, we have Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, all getting nice bumps. All will become very strong plays for their price tags. Buddy Hield is actually going to become the strongest DK value in that situation. Moses Moody would look like he's a very good play as well. And then on the Knicks side of things, Jalen Brunson, if Towns is out, becomes one of the nicest plays one of the best plays on the slate. Josh Hart becomes one of the best plays on the slate. OG Anunoby is a positive RG value. Bridges is a positive RG value. Achua is a positive RG value. So both of these teams, though each of their stars are out, I have interest in basically the entirety of the starting five. However, if their star player is in, I don't really care about anybody on either of these teams. Like maybe Towns, maybe Hart, maybe Brunson. But other than that, I'm just going to be Xing out the games.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up as well as far as if Steph is out, we're giving Hield a pretty big boost.
Sorry, I kind of downplayed it, but if Towns plays, I will definitely play Towns.
Yeah, I think and also on FanDuel, he's got a pretty good price. He's 9.5 over there.
For their price, I like Towns better than Giannis, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I a lot of it's like positionality, which I think matters too. But I'm not going to say you're wrong. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Besides, if the rumors are true and he's questionable because his girlfriend broke up with him, he's going to be mad. He's going to put up 50.
Is that the speculation?
I don't know. That's what our chat is saying. I have no idea if there's any truth to it.
It's funny because so girlfriend Jordan Woods. This is as of 2 days ago or so. I don't know. Is that wild speculation? Do we know what for sure? And does that matter? Does that mean he could just take the day off? I don't know how that works. But yeah, okay. I guess he needs a mental day if that's the case. But you don't know how one would react. But okay, it's worth. I don't know how the projections would factor that in. We know birthday narratives, revenge games. That's easy, obviously. But like girlfriend broke up with you, I don't know. It's pretty tough. Could go either way, I suppose. Derek is saying it's just a rumor he heard from a New York fan. So okay, the old grain of salt. But producer Steve on his gift game today. Steve should know this as a New York fan. Can Steve confirm or deny these rumors? Is this nonsense? Please let us know in the chat. What do you got?
I didn't hear anything about this. Okay,
yeah, I don't know either. But Josh Hart, as of right now, the most widely rostered player at the 14, 15%, healed at 10%. And that is fragile, man. The healed thing is 22 minutes. Again, he would get the boost if we happen to lose Steph. And I think there's a decent chance he doesn't play. Like he's legit like dealing with an ankle. But we'll see. Stay tuned. And Pods, of course. He looks fine as is. I think he would get a nice little bump. And Butler is projecting well. Those are all positive values. Healed, Butler, Pods, even Moody, a pinch. All four of those would project positively if we happen to lose Steph. 7:30 game. We'll see when we get that news. Possibly right at 7, which is a little bit tricky. Which is in part, I think, why we're talking about possibly punting, mostly punting those first 2 games. I like that overall approach. There are 3 games left on the DK slate. Like you said, we can stretch a little bit. I got nothing else as far as New York and Golden State. We need some clarity, of course, but anything else, or should we move along? Should we scoot along and talk about, well, who's next? Next is...
To kind of summarize and emphasize the plays, if Towns plays, I like him a lot for tournaments. Don't really care for anybody else on the Knicks. If Towns is out, Jalen Brunson becomes the top spend-up option on the entire slate. On the Golden State side, I don't really think I want to play any of them except maybe Steph if he plays tonight. If he's out, I have interest in Jimmy Butler, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and Buddy Hield.
Did you mention Precious? If Cat is out?
He's okay, but I don't really think it's like a must play.
Yeah, we got him jumping to 33 minutes. Mitch Robb, I guess he's still on a minutes limit. Just coming back from his injury. We currently have him at 12, and we're maxing him at like 15 if we happen to lose Cat. And I believe Precious... I don't remember if he was injured or it was a DNP-CD last game, but I'm pretty sure he did not play last game with Rob being back and a Cat playing. So he can jump from DNP-CD to playing 30 minutes.
I don't even remember who it was off the top of my head, but we had a game with Cat out the other day too, and Precious didn't even jump into the starting lineup.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank too. Was that the game where Hukporti hurt himself?
Yes. Hukporti started.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention him. He's out for a while. He's got a meniscus. So
yeah. I just don't really think they have much interest in playing Precious right now.
Okay. I feel like they kind of have to if Cat's out, though. I'm pretty sure they have to. Do
they? Or will this game just go really small?
Well, when you say really small...
I guess he kind of is their small ball.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who's... Yeah,
Anunoby at the 5.
Yeah, which you might get some of that.
Like, if Draymond Green's the tallest player on the other team, you genuinely might.
Yeah. And I think if you're playing post, if you're considering post, you want Cat in.
Yeah.
I think. If that's somebody that's in your pool. I'm not saying he should be or shouldn't be. Okay. Yeah, they're talking about Mitch Robb in the chat. Mitch Robb can only play so many minutes. We're projecting him to play, somewhere in the teens. I believe. I think he's only played one game so far. Has he played 1 or 2? 2 games, yeah, and both games
are projecting for 12 minutes.
Teams. Yeah, obviously coming back from a pretty severe injury. Okay, let's talk about the Cavs and the Bulls. This is a pretty big boy total, 243, but the Cavs are monster favorites, 13-point favorites, despite the fact the game is in Chicago, despite the fact that Evan Mobley is out with rest. They are in the front half of back-to-back. We touched on this earlier, man. Cleveland is going to coast. They're going to coast this back half. The quarter pole, I suppose. They have 8 games on Boston with 20 to go. They're not losing 8 of the next 20. They've lost 10 in the first 60. So Cleveland, spoiler alert, they're winning the East. Evan Mobley is out. He's going to rest. Lonzo Ball for Chicago is questionable. Ayo Dosunmu's donezo for the season. I think it's a season-long injury. He's not playing tonight for sure with the shoulder. Giddey, that's kind of a big deal. Josh Giddey, he's got a quad. He's questionable. Kevin Huerter's questionable. He's got a knee. Vuk, of course, still out with his calf. Patrick Williams still out with his quad. Kobe White officially in with his thumb. But, a lot can change here if both Lonzo and Giddey are out. We already have Ayo Dosunmu out. Huerter, another wing. Zach Collins, we've seen dominate those center minutes over Jalen Smith. Now, Jalen Smith was dealing with that concussion. I thought it'll be a tighter split amongst the 48. We haven't necessarily seen that just yet. Surprising a little bit, but Collins has certainly won out You like bigs against Cleveland as far as solidifying minutes, but it's a tough matchup. A little bit easier with the absence of Mobley. We're currently projecting DeAndre Hunter to start the 4, which that's an interesting start. Seems like a small 4. Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Hunter, and Allen versus Giddey, White, Ball, Buzelis, and Collins. Buzelis would really get his minutes solidified if we happen to lose, Herter and Giddey, and maybe Trey Jones can get unleashed if we get the right pieces to fall for Chicago. Lots to monitor.
Started the second half last game.
So what is our anticipation here? Again, a lot of if-then stuff, but how you tackling Cavs Bulls?
Yeah, I think this is without a doubt the most important game on the slate. Jared Allen is going to be the chalkiest guy on the slate, but he's also an absolute smash play today. Ty Jerome looks great coming off the bench. Darius Garland's too cheap. Donovan Mitchell's too cheap. All of them should get nice usage bumps today. I like the whole team of Cleveland. Like I said, I'll have minimum 2 in every lineup. I'm debating bumping that up to saying 3 to 4 Cavs in every single lineup, and I probably will do that if we get Towns and Curry in, and some of these Philadelphia guys in, and I like the situations less in these other games. Then I'm just going to load it up and say 4 Cavs in every single lineup today, because we really should get a much more condensed rotation with this. Yes, it's a big spread, but hopefully without Mobley, it increases the chances Chicago can keep it close. And even if not, you can absolutely see a situation where Mitchell and Garland have 50-plus points in 3/4 of this one anyways. DeAndre Hunter is the guy standing out for me right now. That's most interesting for tournaments due to his ownership. Like $5,300 DeAndre Hunter. We're currently projecting him for less than 4%. Played 31 minutes and up in his last game. He's been trending up ever since he's gotten to Cleveland, just slowly getting a little bit better, a little bit better. And so I like DeAndre Hunter a ton in tournaments, Max Strus for tournaments. And if you're playing 150 lineups like I am, I don't think it's that crazy to say, hey, look, Jared Allen is going to be super chalky. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Ty Jerome are all going to be chalky. What if I play Sam Merrill and Dean Wade and just hope for a blowout? And if you do get that blowout and the Cavs guys sit in the fourth quarter, well, Merrill and Wade at 3-4 and 3-5, if they get you 22 to 25 points on a slate with almost no value, that could be the key to winning a tournament. So this is undoubtedly my favorite game on the slate, and I'm going to be getting to a ton of Cleveland for sure. And then on the Chicago side, I will still be playing them if Herter and Ball and Giddey are in. I think Giddey I will love for tournaments. Ball and Herter are in play as salary savers, as is Jalen Smith. But if all of a sudden we get Ball out, we get Herter out, we get Giddey out, that's all of a sudden when we go into the type of Terry situation where it's like, all right, I guess I might be locking in Matas Buzelis. I might be locking in Trey Jones and just playing them in all 150 of my lineups because we don't have all that much value.
Yeah, I'm holding spots for Chicago, I think. And that's why I'm like, any tiebreakers, just to take the later player and kind of figure stuff out. And maybe you can't make plans until later on in the evening. I saw in the chat, was a Butthole was talking about us arguing. I don't know what we were arguing about. I like a healthy debate. The little disagreement's fine, as long as, polite about it. But, J3 is trying to start with say we're arguing a little bit. And I don't think we're arguing about, I guess, a little bit about New York to some degree. But I have a little pushback on like 3 or 4 Cavs because I just don't think that they're going to get optimal games out of 3 or 4 Cavs because the minutes are going to be capped. It's a front half of a back-to-back. Now, the counter to that is the Bulls are an awesome matchup, and we're currently projecting just 30 minutes for Jared Allen, just 31 for Garland, just 32 for Mitchell, and they all project well. It's kind of baked in the projections, right, that they're not going to play, most likely not going to play 34, 35. But, I think there's a chance they play 28, 29, 30. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing as many Cavs as you are. 3 or 4 in a lineup, probably not. Now, I might be stuck. I might have spots and like injury news doesn't go my way. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play some Cavs because that's the best of my options that are left. Things not break my way news-wise, but I don't know if I'm getting 4. I think is just not going to happen for me. 3 maybe. We'll see, depending on. But I'm just stuck on the idea that Cleveland knows their situation. They're a smart organization. They're not going to push these guys too hard. That's why Mobley's resting tonight. And they're going to rest Jared Allen tomorrow or Mitchell. They rested Mitchell a couple of games ago, right? Or last game, I think it was. They're going to be resting guys, the rest of the way. They should be. I don't know. I like them. I don't think I like them as much as you do, for what it's worth. What are we doing in the chat, TJ, with your with this account, Agents of
That's
FanDuel?
not me.
All right. Just so happens to be somebody else that has the exact name of your site that you own.
I'm sure it's somebody with the Agents of Fandom, but it's not me.
And they also happen to be big fans of DFS?
No, they're probably just trolling me or something.
Oh man, you might be convincing me otherwise. I'm not really sure, but and they're doing the 5 big booms. Are we still doing the booms? I feel like the booms are done. Are the booms over?
Well, the booms are for Steve's headache.
Oh, Steve's got a headache. Yeah. Well, why do we want to give him booms? Make it worse. But I think the booms are over, right? The Costco guys, are we still doing that? Are we still watching those? Is that still?
I mean, I don't think we are, but people are.
Well, I mean, like the generic we. I don't mean like literally us. Yeah. All right. Not too far away, the Costco guys for me. Yeah. So I have a little bit of pushback on Cleveland, but again, just four seems too much to me. Maybe three. I do like the chalk Jared Allen. The absence of Mobley, the matchup against Chicago. We know Chicago is just an absolute sieve inside as far as yielding points. That's where Jared Allen lives. I like all the wings. Like you're talking about the Strus. Jerome is really going to be popular, and I generally don't like, general rules. I don't like a guy projected to play mid-20s minutes coming off the bench, not necessarily guaranteed to close, and is really reliant on scoring. That's going to be really popular. Like that combination, knowing nothing else.
Not really reliant on scoring.
Jerome, he's pretty reliant on scoring.
He gets rebounds and assists and steals. He had 6 steals in his last game.
Well, okay.
6 steals, 6 assists, 5 rebounds in his last game.
Okay, and if you want to go by his last game, we can do it. The game that Donovan Mitchell didn't play in, you're saying?
Well, 1 steal, 3 assists, 4 rebounds the game before that. 1, 2, and 2, 2, 4, and 5, 2, 2, and 3. He gets what's the word I'm looking for? Ancillary stats.
He averages 2.5 rebounds per game on the season. You accidentally, if you're on the court long enough, you're going to get rebounds. I wouldn't say he gets rebounds, but he gets 2.5 per game. Now we're
a 5'9" point guard. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Well, yeah. So now you're basing on expectations. His expectations are none. So
yeah, and he's also $5,100. The expectation should be low.
Yeah, well, see, now you're adding qualifiers, but I'm saying
qualifiers that he's a really good point per dollar play.
Well, no, your argument wasn't he's cheap, which is that's a good argument. The argument was he does auxiliary stats, which is a bad argument.
He does auxiliary stats. He's good at steals and assists, and he's fine for rebounds.
3.5 assists per game and 3.4.
Yeah, change that to per 36 minutes, Dean.
He's not going to play 36
How many minutes is he averaging?
Well, okay, can we do this for Sharp as well for Brooklyn for 36? He'll be the best player in the slate. That's not how.
Well, yeah, which is why when they get extended, anytime Sharp gets extended minutes, you want to play him. And guess what? Jerome is getting extended minutes tonight.
Extended to the mid-20s, not to it for 36. All right. I like it. I like a healthy debate. That's good. And again, I like Jerome.
J3 was talking in chat. He said we were agreeing too much, so I had to spice it up.
By the way, we got a winner as far as we'll play out the string for Television Tuesday. But on just 2 guesses, we got a winner in the Discord channel. Shout out to Stacy's Breed. We won't give the winner just yet because we'll go ahead and keep dropping the clues. But the third clue is SNL. SNL. So shout out to Stacy's Breed. Week free of RG Premium coming your way. Producer Steve will come slide in the DMs and hook you up. All right. We do this every Tuesday. TJ, feel free to keep guessing. Those in YouTube that have not jumped over the Discord, by all means, go for it. It may have actually been said, I think it was mentioned in the YouTube chat earlier, but and that's not the official. That's not where we put our guesses in. You got to play by the rules. Anything else as far as Chicago and Cleveland?
Yeah. So my question to you, Dean,
Yes.
is if Ty Jerome is projected for 25% more minutes tonight than his season average, assuming we can also bump up those season averages on assists, on rebounds, on steals a little bit. So let's say just by 0.5, right? Just by 0.5. We'll say those extra 5 minutes will get him an extra half assist, an extra half rebound, an extra half steal. That means we could look at about, say, 3 rebounds, which is 4.5 points.
Yeah.
4 assists.
And you're saying that's a lot. You're saying 3 rebounds is a lot because
4 assists,
for a guy that's short,
which is another 6 points. So that's 10.5 points. 2 steals, which is 14 points.
I'll take the under in 2 steals.
You wouldn't take 14.5 points without any points scored from a guy who's $5,100?
Now I'm going to check our projections because we have projections for specific stats. I wonder if it is around 14 or so. My point is not even Jerome, just anybody. Yeah, just any player.
Any player that's only going to get 24 minutes, you don't like chalk for sure.
No. Player X coming off the bench, projected for 20-ish minutes or so, not guaranteed to close, and is pretty reliant on scoring.
He's not, though. That's the one part of your argument that's wrong.
He's
not reliant on scoring.
Our projections, 15.5 points is our current median projection tonight. I'm not going to go into the second decimal number. 3.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists. So he kind of has to score. If he's not scoring, he's in a lot of trouble.
You're just those are valuable fantasy points, Dean.
Somebody in chat said, who won the debate? And I don't know. We can and it's basically like, who do you like more? Is basically what they're asking.
No. Do you prefer logic or do you prefer nonsense? If you prefer logic, I won the debate.
You like that?
Nonsense. Dean won the debate. You don't just get to ignore 15 fantasy points that come from his ancillary stats. Karl Anthony Towns has been ruled out.
15. 3 rebounds.
Yeah, I rounded up from 14.5. Sue me.
I don't think that's I don't know. You might want to double check the math there. 3.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and 1.3 steals. Also turnovers. Those go backwards. All right.
What if we add on the 3-pointers made?
What side are you playing on?
DraftKings. Where is $5,100?
We'll go back as far as New York, and I think that I think Precious is going to start. I don't think they're going to start Mitch Rob. Maybe they do, but I think Precious starts. We'll see. Curious to see how that goes down. Nice to see we got the news though. Some clarity. I guess is it nice because maybe I want to reward people that are patient. We still have 25 minutes until Tim, Will, and
Beer's in the chat right now. I need him to tell us who he thinks is right.
Oh no, Tim doesn't like me. He's definitely gonna. He wasn't even listening. He'll still say you won. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be against me. He likes to poke the bear. Okay, we're moving on. I think from Chicago and Cleveland. Yes.
Yeah.
That was good though because we needed to kill time.
And going back to New York to Karl Anthony Towns tonight, like just to reaffirm, this does mean Jalen Brunson is now like the top spend up on the slate. He's going to become more chalky, but like he is on the level of like Jared Allen when talking about cash game plays today.
Yeah. I do agree that Brunson becomes a really, really strong play. Okay. Let's talk about the other 8:00 game that is Philadelphia and Minnesota. Oh, this is another fun one, which a bunch of if-thens. 219 is the total. Minnesota Cats former team. They're 14-point favorites here versus whatever is left of the 76ers. 76ers, they are traveling. They're in the back half of a back-to-back. Questionables. Paul George did not play yesterday with his groin. Eric Gordon is out for the season, or I think he's out for the season. Kyle Lowry is still out with his hip. Maxi's out with his back. Oubre officially in. He was ill yesterday. Justin Edwards, who would play a lot, is questionable as well. We're currently projecting, like now they have, 11 if they all play. Doughton, Grimes. Oh, I missed Grimes. Grimes is also questionable too. He's got a bicep. So Doughton, we're expecting to start right now. with Grimes, Oubre, George, Drummond, who absolutely annihilated the world yesterday. Summoned the Drummond from a couple of years ago. He's been horrendous all season long, but he saw what the reason why we were playing him at some points, and I think it was Kyle. Kyle gave a hard push on Drummond last night. I ended up getting to some. It led me to a min catch, I think, with Triple J. So shout out to me and shout out to Kyle. But we could lose 3 players. We could lose Edwards. We could lose George. We could lose Grimes, and possibly be down to Yabusele, by the way, is probable with his eye. We could be down to 8 potentially, but I don't know if we're going to get down that low. As far as Minnesota, Gobert is still out. He's dealing with that back. Julius Randle just came back. Now he's already questionable. He also has a groin. He projects really well if he plays. Philadelphia, Minnesota, do the best you can here because, it's a lot of if-then nonsense.
Yeah, again, this is another situation where if everybody plays, I don't think we have to have a lot of interest in this game outside of maybe Andre Drummond on the Philly side of things. Like George will project fine, Grimes will project fine, Andre Drummond projects very good, but outside of that, I don't think we really need to get to any of these guys. All of a sudden, if they start being out, Paul George, Quentin Grimes, Justin Edwards, those are 3 guys who are going to play upwards of 85, 90 minutes on the wing if you add them all together. So that means we're going to see an absolute ton of Lonnie Walker, Jeff Doughton, Jared Butler, Ricky Council. I think as it stands right now, I even have a little bit of interest in Jeff Doughton just because he's only $3,200. I'll always play somebody that cheap. And like as Derek saying in chat, like Justin Edwards, he got hurt just last night in the front half of the back-to-back. So unlikely that he's really going to be ready for this one. And so I do think we have to prepare. I'm going to be playing this as if we're going to have a ton of value from Philadelphia. That's one of the reasons I don't want to play many players from this first game, if any. And so I'm currently playing this as Chicago and Philadelphia are going to provide a ton of value for us. If it doesn't happen, I will load up on Chicago even more. If Chicago doesn't happen, that's, again, when I start looking to the Atlantas and the Milwaukees for value. But on the Philadelphia side of things, I will pretty much just X them out outside of Drummond and Doughton if everybody plays. If all of these guys are out, if Grimes, George, Edwards are out, that's when I'm going to, if all 3 of them are out, I would hit the lock button on whoever's starting between Council and Walker, maybe even on both of them. If they're in, if just 2 of them are out or 1 of them are out, I still am going to make sure I want to get to those guys, but not at lock button levels.
This is why I think I'm just going to play Giannis and hope I have the cheap stuff to help me get there. If that makes sense.
Very fair.
Because I think something's going to open up for Philly. Again, back half of back-to-back.
And if we get this news before the 7:30 stuff, I too will be getting to an absolute ton of Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I might just go, say we get Paul George, Quentin Grimes, and who's the other one? Justin Edwards out. That's the type of situation where I start going, okay, I'm playing 150 lineups, but maybe I want to play Lonnie Walker, Ricky Council, Jalen Brunson, and Giannis Antetokounmpo in all of them, and leave it just to rotate those 4 positions from my other 150 lineups. Just cut this slate in directly half, all my lineups in directly half, and just lock in my 100+ points from Brunson and Antetokounmpo. Hope I get 10x from Walker and Council, and if both of those things happen, just have all 150 of your lineups live to make money.
I'm looking at our minutes projection. We have Doughton projected to start, but only play 17 minutes. Walker, 16 minutes. Council, 12. Butler, 8. I'm just trying to figure if this game gets ugly and if we get those players that are ruled out and we're down to 9. Again, we have 11 right now, but say we lose George and Grimes, we're down to 9, and maybe we lose Edwards as well. Maybe we could be down to 8 at worst. But just trying to think who be playing at the end. It's a 40-point game. Somebody's still going to be out there. And I think it'll be Walker, Council, Butler. Probably it wouldn't be Drummond. It'll be Bona.
It'll be Bona for sure. And still Doughton.
And Doughton. I think Doughton would be out there too.
Who are the players that are like you reverse it? Who are the players that are not on the court?
Well,
Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, and Drummond.
Yeah.
So Council, Butler, Doughton, Walker, and Bona. Unless they've called anybody up from the G League that we don't know about.
I don't think anybody's been called up unless it's possibly missed something or maybe something will come through. But yeah, that's the way I'm seeing it as well. Did you give your Minnesota take? I'm sorry if you did. I missed it.
No, I was too fired up about the Philadelphia stuff. If Julius Randle plays, I don't care about anybody outside of maybe Julius Randle, but still probably not. If Julius Randle plays, I think I X out this whole team except for Anthony Edwards and Nas. If Julius Randle is out, I start considering guys like Jaden McDaniels, Dante DiVincenzo. But more importantly, it would make Anthony Edwards and Nas Reed change from guys who are just okay and playable to very good plays.
Mitch Robb getting a minutes limit per Coach Tibbs. Well, duh, but what is it? And it's also Coach Tibbs. So what's 45 minutes is the limit? What's the limit for Coach Tibbs? I don't know. But we're projecting him. I think we have our new projection. So give it a refresh as far as the lineup HQ. I want to circle back on
Stephen Curry hopeful to play.
Yeah, that's what they said yesterday. I mean, aren't they always hopeful? In theory, shouldn't you be hopeful to play? Yeah, so Precious is now getting 33 minutes, and he's down to 5K on DK, which is a pretty good price. He's also power forward.
A game time decision. Another thing that doesn't help us.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. I don't know if I want to ideally, I don't want to mess with the Milwaukee wing nonsense. I don't like playing that game. I think Chicago or Philly or Cleveland will be better, I think. And only one of those Milwaukee guys basically has a chance. You know that typically most of them are just kind of meh. Just again, who's going to hit the threes? I don't know. Maybe Trent could be good. But I don't think I want to play that game. At least that's where I'm at right now. Brunson, by the way, 47 point median DK point projection. He's going to be hitting lineups. I think I'm running some optimals now with a little bit of bells and whistles, new stuff coming through as far as lineup HQ. I'm stalling and saying words because it's taking a second for my 73 lineups to be made. They are now made. And Precious Achua, 47%. Brunson only 29%, kind of surprising. OG 27, Hart 22. So yeah, I would play at least one player for New York in every lineup, I think. Pretty sure. Because you lose their key player in Cat, and those rotations are going to be really tight with Coach Tibbs still there. ESPN game as well as far as extra rest. TNT, doesn't matter. National TV, same point. Wait, Mr. Richard says DK is projecting 50 points for Brunson. Is mine different? That's weird. I don't know why he would say that. I don't think that would be wrong. Giannis officially in, but that is not a surprise. Okay, now, yeah, Brunson now at 50. My bad. I don't know what happened there. Is that a new refresh? He still looks really good. He looks better than he was a second ago.
What did you say you saw him at?
I had him at 47, but maybe.
No, he's 50 for RotoGrinders, 53 for shot quality.
Okay. There you go. So he's for sure going to be really popular tonight, and I think for good reason. And Curry, I'm assuming he plays. The league certainly wants him to play, on national TV here, make it for an exciting game in the Garden. 10 minutes until crunch time comes in, give or take. You got Tim hanging out in chat, as well as Will coming in, and Beer. One more game on the DK slate. FanDuel is including the Los Angeles games. Clippers at Suns. That's a 10 o'clock game on the East Coast at the back half of the TNT doubleheader. Pels, Lakers. That is the other game at 10:30. Maybe we'll touch on that, but if we don't touch that, of course, crunch time goes position by position, site by site. FanDuel and DK, they will knock it out for you when it comes to the Pelicans, the Lakers, Clippers, and the Suns. Let's go ahead and drop that fourth clue for fun. It's already been dropped. It's metal. Metal is the fourth clue. We do have the winner. Well, there's officially the winner on the screen. Producer Steve just giving the answer. I know it's already been guessed, but if those who are playing along, there's your answer. The fifth clue, by the way, was movie. Movie was the fifth clue. Court, watch, SNL, metal, and movie. We almost went with TP or Cornholio. We did not go with Cornholio or TP, but we want to keep it classy here. But those are our clues. We'll explain them for those that have not quite pieced it together soon enough. This last game on the DK slate, it is a bit of a whimper for sure. The Nets and the Spurs, 229.5 is the total. Spurs are 3-point favorites here. As far as who is in and out for this one, Claxton is available. Clowney is out. Tosan is out. He is in the G League. As far as San Antonio, Bassey's still out. Of course, Wemby out for the season. Stephen Castle says available on the injury report. Interesting. Doesn't mention what his actual injury diagnosis or designation is. It just says he is available. Nets and Spurs are playing basketball at 8:30. Do we care?
Sorry, I was reading the chat. What are we caring about? My bad.
We're not caring about the Nets and the Spurs. Do you care about the Nets and the Spurs?
Could not care less about the Nets and the Spurs. I think Nick Claxton is playable on the Nets. I think Fox or Castle is playable on the Spurs. I'm going to be Xing out this entire game. I'm not playing anybody on either team.
Yeah, even though you're running 150, that's interesting. I'm not disagreeing with that assessment, but you're just saying I just don't need it, and that's that.
Yeah.
Ownership wise, and this stuff. When's our last ownership update? It probably doesn't include. Yeah, it's 555. So maybe it includes some of the New York stuff, possibly. Keldon Johnson
had Brunson at like 6%. So
yeah, so that's going to adjust. Obviously, we have Keldon and Fox and Claxton in the teens, but I don't know if I need any of that. Earlier in the day, Keldon looked all right. He's sort of up and down, and it's highly variant, I guess. Keldon can put up a 10, and he also can put up a 35, 40. But I don't know how much you need that today. Earlier in the day, I might have needed it. Eric's asking about Cam Thomas.
On FanDuel, I think he's playable.
I think he's 5'5" over there. Is that correct? I think that's, if I remember that correctly, like fully 1K cheaper. Yeah, he's 5'5" on FanDuel, so only getting 25 minutes as far as his projection, but still that's, he projects as a decent play at 5'5". And FanDuel, just the cap is pretty tight tonight. I'm not sure if you're dabbling in the FanDuel streets or not, but just kind of running some stuff and looking at prices. At least it was earlier. I want to see how things may change. And again, a lot of stuff is yet to be determined. But
a few years ago, I switched from FanDuel exclusively to DraftKings exclusively because I felt like DraftKings had way better rewards, way better achievements, way better customer service. And I swear, right when I switched over, it just kind of evened itself right out. And DraftKings stopped focusing as much on DFS and more on sports betting. And it was I just kind of timed the switch quite poorly.
Yeah, but does FanDuel know that you're human? That's the most important thing.
They do. I have a lot less trouble with that than everybody else. I still have to log in and I still have to log in each time I try and utilize it, but it does allow me to log in each time.
So I'm looking at the FanDuel stuff. I'm kind of running some optimals, and Precious is 4-4 on FanDuel. So I don't want to say lock, but I kind of want to say lock. 4-4 for Precious on FanDuel, and he's power forward.
If he starts, I'd lock him.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't, like we said, Mitch Rob, I assume it would be Mitch Rob that would start, but I don't think he will because of the minutes limit. Actually, are we projecting Mitch Rob to start? We are. So maybe he jumps up to 25 minutes. How much is Mitch Rob, if you want to speculate? Is he
40?
He's 3.9 on FanDuel, but we're only giving him 15 minutes. But it's just, I haven't seen a hard cap, but that's very possible. It's 15 minutes. Yeah, that's just wild speculation. You got to put a number on it, but 15 seems right. But would you be shocked if he plays 22? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. That would be, I'd say, the ceiling, though.
Yeah, I would not anticipate. I think the number is right as far as our projection team as a median projection. Why are we showing off Spidey Bombs? Was something mentioned in chat regarding Spidey Bombs?
Where are we showing off Spidey Bombs?
Steve just threw it up on the screen for some reason. I don't know if he.
I missed that. I didn't see it.
Was that you?
No.
Oh, Steve, we can't hear you.
It was her.
Ah.
Favorite superhero is Spider-Man. She's Spider-Man.
Put the mask on for her, TJ. Oh, that's not the. Well, yeah. Oh, well.
You'll get the mask.
There you go. Would you believe that TJ could be Spider-Man if he all of a sudden changes and sells it?
No, because she's Spider-Man.
Oh, wasn't there more than one? There's a whole Spider-Verse,
Let's bring it out early. It's not baseball season yet, but we got it.
Ooh. There, you got a smile out of her and a head nod. There you go. All right. 5 minutes or so. We have crunch time coming in. Tim's coming in, Will, as well as Beer. Any questions in chat? By all means, fire them off. Let's see. Oh, let's explain today's Television Tuesday. We did get a winner. We got a winner very early. I did see our guy Butto gave the answer on YouTube, but Butto doesn't want to. He wants to be off the grid. He doesn't want to be a part of the Discord. And now we're Captain America. How was the new Captain America? Do we like this or no?
I enjoyed it. It was fine. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't groundbreaking, but writing was just fine. But it was still an enjoyable 90+ minutes of a movie. It was fun and action packed.
Fair enough. All right. You saw it. Well, yeah, you had to see it in the theaters, right? It's not available like video on demand. That's the place you would see that movie. Anyway, I would imagine. All right. Let's see. Our winner today for Television Tuesday was Stacy. First clue was Court. Court was in reference to the creator of the show. Creator of the show, of course, is Mike Judge. Mike Judge, famous for Beavis and Butthead, Office Space, which is spectacular, Idiocracy. He's done a lot of things. The second clue was Watch. That's what they did a lot of. They watched a lot of TV on Beavis and Butthead. The third clue, one of the more popular skits we've seen, more viral skits for SNL the last 5 years or so, the Beavis and Butthead skit. I'm assuming you've seen that, TJ? Yes, maybe, possibly, with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
It's worth checking out. Metal is in reference to, well, they like metal, but also the T-shirts they wear. Well, one wears AC/DC, one wears Metallica. Fifth, of course, the fifth clue is in reference to the Beavis and Butthead Do America. There was a movie that was so popular, the series. They rebooted it. Paramount rebooted it not too long ago. If you want to get your Beavis and Butthead fix, and I don't think they were watching videos. I think they were watching reality shows. Like videos are. They still happen and they still make them, but not to like they used to. Obviously, it used to be all over MTV, which now I think MTV is just about teen moms. What's MTV showing these days? I'm not sure. The dude, the skateboarder with the prank show. I don't know. Rob Dyrdek, is he still doing his thing? He might be. Yeah, crunch
They're
time.
remaking Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 for new game systems.
People are going to be excited about that. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Is that going to come out before the next Grand Theft Auto? Is that the question that people are asking?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe. It was a missed opportunity though from you on Television Tuesday.
What did I miss?
One of the greatest shows on TV is back tonight after a 7-year gap, Dean.
Huh. This has got to be something like on Disney Plus, maybe?
It is on Disney Plus now. It used to be on Netflix, and that's Daredevil. After 7 years since its season 3 cancellation when Disney bought Marvel. And now we got, or when Disney acquired, I guess, the rest of the rights from those shows. And so now we have Daredevil back for the first time since 7 years ago.
John Barenthal?
He will be in the series, yeah. He's the Punisher. Yeah. He's not Daredevil, but he will be in the series.
Okay, yeah. I thought I read somewhere that he was going to be on that show. He's good. I like him. And I feel like I watched some of Daredevil on Netflix. I think
really good show. Like, even if you don't like the comic book type stuff, it's a gritty TV mature action show.
Kingpin, is that the guy's name? Is that the big evil guy? Is that right?
Yeah, that's Vincent D'Onofrio. He's back too.
Derek is saying, are they doing an Accountant 2? They are doing an Accountant 2. I'm pretty sure that's happening. But one of the sneaky good Ben Affleck movies that nobody talks about. I don't know if you've ever seen The Accountant, but that is a good movie that nobody ever talks about. I'm pretty sure they're making a second one, which they kind of set it up. So coming up 7 years late, whatever it is. But you ever see The Accountant, TJ? Or no?
I haven't actually, but I'm sure I probably will watch it before The Accountant 2 comes out. And I got no chill in chats bringing up another great TV show that ended its first season today, and that's Paradise on Disney Plus. They're already about to start filming season 2, but season finale of Paradise just came out, and truly incredible show. Like in the same week, episode 7 of Paradise and Severance both dropped. And those are 2 legitimately like 10 out of 10 episodes of television that came back to back. Ooh, we got Josh Giddey out. We're going to get this Bulls news now. Herder out, ball out. Yeah. We got all the Chicago value now.
Why are we celebrating? We didn't want it. We wanted it at 7:01. We didn't want it.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
a good point. That's a good point. We weren't going to get this
people to play the nonsense at 7. I wanted people to play
8 o'clock game. We could have got that after. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I guess I can't be complaining because we want the news. Like, give us the news. Just tell us the news. And now I'm mad they gave us the news. So, you know, what it is I just can't be pleased. And that's pretty much what it is. You know, you cannot make me happy, I suppose. But yeah, ideally that would have came later. But I think Trey Jones is going to project really well on first thoughts. And
Buzelis will be great.
Buzelis, yeah. Giddey out, Ball out.
I mean, like the one tough part is like, honestly, what do you do with Kobe White? Because like if this plays somewhat close, Kobe White could have 30 shot attempts. Or they could just go, all right, we're punting this game and he could play 25 minutes.
He's yesterday's Jalen Green, if you assume Jalen Green played the entire game. He's basically what he is.
Yeah.
Last man standing. Tough matchup, obviously, against Cleveland, but curious to see how projections adjust. But yeah, you're going to be playing some Bulls because they're going to score some points. All right, crunch time is here. Before we bring them in, I want you to tell me who's breaking the slate. Who's breaking the slate tonight?
I will go with, as a cheap option, I'm going to say Buzelis. And as a more expensive option, I will say, none of them. I'm going to say Buzelis is my guy breaking the slate today.
THT is another guy. Yeah. We haven't thought. Is THT like 3K? He's got to make 3K, right? 3-3. Yeah, I'm curious to see because they still have guys. That's the thing is the Bulls still have like 11 dudes, something like that. So it's not like they're incredibly thin. I'm curious to see how those minutes get dispersed. I'm shocked you didn't take the guy who absolutely peppers the box score. He doesn't need to score. It'd be nice if he does, but you did not take Ty Jerome as your guy. But maybe you left it for me because you know I'm a huge fan. I actually like Ty Jerome, which is a funny part of the whole conversation. We had
stop making egregious statements about him.
All right, let's do it. Let's bring in crunch time. We got Beer, we got Tim, we got Will. Right now, crunch time. It looks like Kyle Kuzma is officially in as well. So the Milwaukee wing nonsense, I'm probably just going to cross out. I don't know. TJ, who do we think is hosting here amongst Tim, Will, and Beer? Of course, all are capable. All are equally capable. Who's playing host here? Have they worked this out yet?
It's tough because I'm going to weigh all my options. You know, like I know Tim is locked in with the format. He's got it down. Like if you asked him, like, what time are we transitioning to each different thing, Tim would know. He's got the format of crunch time down pat.
You are such a good liar, DJ.
Beer's been here. Beer's been here forever. I've been watching the 6-pack since I was like 19 years old playing DFS for the first time.
Oh my god!
And so Beer knows what he's doing. He's a direct sub in for.
Beer's getting old, is what you're saying. So am I too old?
He subbed in for Roth. You know, he came in 1 for 1. I think it might be Will. I think it might be my guy Will. I know he knows how to bring the thunder, have some fun, and carry a show. I think it might be my guy Will.
Let's play rock, paper, scissors. Loser is the host.
Throw rock.
I'm gonna nominate Will as well. I like that nomination.
Does anybody want it? Cole Anthony's out, by the way.
I've now been voluntold that I'm hosting.
That was just a guess, a prediction. I'm not trying to make you have to do it.
Tim's in the center box. So the center box is the host.
I'll host.
Oh boy,
no problem. I listen. I don't get to hang out with my good friend Beer that often. Tim, we did get our TWT weekend, and I think we got a couple more coming up this month. So I'll host so Beer can do some analysis. I'll maybe drop some nuggets in there. But I was prepared for this. I'm literally playing single entry tonight because I was like, there's no way I'm going to do 150 tonight because all this news starts happening and I'm clicking buttons. And I did do it on Saturday, I think it was, or maybe it was Friday, Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, I'm just going to host this thing and build my one lineup as these smart guys talk you through everything. And I'll just throw in some commentary here and there.
Myself and TJ, we're going to see ourselves out. Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on notifications. But do not go anywhere. Cole Anthony not playing basketball tonight. 38 minutes of nonstop NBA DFS conversation taking you straight up the lock. Let's send it to the best host in the business as of a minute ago. It's Will Priester. Take it away, Will.
Yeah, man, it's time for crunch time. We've got a good crew here. Tim, Beer, good to see you guys. And once again, first of all, Tim, let's talk about this and then we'll hop in. We do have about 38 minutes. Beer with the fresh RotoGrinders logo hat. I mean, that's nice. I don't have that yet. I've got some socks. I've got a hoodie. Don't have the brim, so you still see me throwing the Hattie B's on. Oh, Beer, stop it. You got all kind of nice goodies in there.
The OG benefits, I suppose. Man, we got to hook my guy Will up with a hat. Come on. I mean, the Hattie B's hat is fire. So I would 1 for 1 the hats, no problem.
Yeah, one of the classics. Tim, we'll be talking about taters real soon. Give us a few more weeks. The taters will be in the building. As for right now, still talking NBA. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Will. Yeah, I mean, we're getting close to baseball season. Still a lot of NBA left, though.
Yeah.
Pretty fun slate tonight, too. So last night was really, really tough. Like half my team got hurt. So I was pretty dead pretty early, but I'm hoping for a bounce back night tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about this real quick. And you guys know I typically host my own way. We will go position by position here shortly. But Beer, I'm going to kick this over to you. What do you feel like is your most important piece of news remaining for this slate, if any? And Tim, I'll ask you the same thing in terms of just your Bills personally. Beer, what's your most important piece of news that you feel like you're waiting on personally?
I mean, I think we just got it was the Chicago news and
okay.
Boom, boom, boom. So, that just hit at the end of the last show, rolling in here. So still adjusting and seeing what the ramifications are going to be with all the injuries there in Chicago. So they brought up a good point. Kobe White, does he stand out or does he maybe not play such a big role and they don't really care about this game? Let some of the younger guys play. So Chicago is certainly a situation we're going to talk about.
Okay, Tim, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Beer. Chicago is probably the biggest, but I mean, we still are waiting on Philly, I believe. So if lost Paul George, Quentin Grimes, and Justin Edwards, that would leave them pretty thin and a lot of pretty decent value on Philly despite the bad matchup.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to see what they're going to do with Grimes. I feel like Grimes might be actually more important than Paul George, but don't quote me on that. Let's hop into this thing. We already know that a fair amount of guys, right? I know I think one of the more interesting pieces of injury news is in that same Chicago game where Cleveland will not have Mobley tonight. So obviously I'm seeing a pretty hefty projection on Jarrett Allen. But here nor there. Let's go position by position. We'll just start there. And let's start with cash, and then we'll do cash tournaments. Tim, I guess you'll do cash. Beer, you do tournaments. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. We're on DraftKings. Tim, talk to me. What are we doing in cash games tonight with all of these guys out? So much value. Point guard. Let's kick it off.
Yeah, so point guard cash games on DK. Probably should start with Jalen Brunson. Now that Cat is out, he gets a pretty nice usage bump. He's 8-8. I don't think you should get too cute with that position. I think Brunson is a really, really strong points per dollar play. I think he's got a really, really strong and safe floor for cash games. If you're looking for another play to put in your guard spot or utility spot, Ty Jerome in that Cleveland-Chicago game that we were just talking about. Cleveland has a 128, I think, implied team total. Ty Jerome, I think, is going to be a really, really solid play. In in tournaments or like single entry, I really like getting to Darius Garland. I don't think he's quite cash game viable, but he's very close. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a single entry or a GPP play. I'm trying to see if we have Bulls updated yet, but yeah. So Kobe White's actually just shooting guard only. So it'd just be those guys in cash games. But I'm waiting to see the updated Chicago stuff with Giddey out.
Okay, sounds good. Beer, over to you. You know, we see in cash games, it sounds like Tim is going to hold steady with Jalen Brunson. We see Jalen Brunson. Let's see if we're going to raise or if we're going to call. Beer, Jalen Brunson, what are we doing?
I mean, I like the call, and I think he's viable in all formats tonight. It doesn't look like a ton of ownership going his way. I think there's just so much value at this position that's going to open up. So, you know, if he's going to be low owned, I think it's a good play both in cash games and tournaments. Ty Jerome, another call I really like. He'll have obviously a lot more ownership. The Cleveland thing is tricky because we have the blowout. I mean, they're 12.5-point favorites here. So you brought up Jared Allen, you know, Mitchell, Garland, spending on these guys. Do we get a full complement of minutes? I like the team total, and a lot of times 3 quarters can be all it takes for these guys to get there. But a guy like Ty Jerome, he's kind of, we'll say, bulletproof from that. You know, if it is a blowout, he could play in that scenario as well. We have him projected for 24 minutes. I think he could go over that number. So I like both of those calls. As far as tournaments go, some lower owned guys, you know, Miles McBride, interesting. I think he could get a little bit more run here for the Knicks. He's cheap, not showing a ton of ownership. And my boy De'Aaron Fox, I'm going to continue to roll him out there. Don't love the matchup here with Brooklyn, team that plays slow, nasty, been playing some better defense, but he's a guy that's going to have to carry the load without Wemby there. So Fox is another option in the higher range if you're looking in tournaments.
Sounds good to me. We'll stay with you, Beer, since you're already talking. Let's go to shooting guard. We're doing this in reverse. What are you thinking in tournaments? A way to get different, and then Tim, we'll head to you for cash. Take it away, Beer.
Again, McBride kind of fills both bills here. If you have a point guard you like, you can go with him on shooting guard. Same thing with Fox here. I think Indiana could be a decent source of value here. Both Naismith and Nembhard are projecting pretty well. Not a ton of ownership on those guys either. And then Karis LeVert, a guy that's been playing some good ball since going over to Atlanta. I like this Milwaukee-Atlanta game. I think there could be a lot of points in that game. So LeVert, a guy in the mid-range, I think that gives you nice upside. Risky. Cash game's probably not a guy I'm looking at, but in tournaments, I think he's a guy that can get you 40 DraftKings points.
Sounds good. Tim, over to you.
Yeah, so I think you're definitely playing Kobe White in cash. You're probably playing him at shooting guard. You could play him at small forward, but I think he's better at shooting guard. Taylor Horton-Tucker, I mean, it seems always pretty gross to play him, but if you want to play a couple studs, like namely Giannis, you might have to do THT at 3-3. One of the Indiana pieces that I would consider in cash games is Andrew Nembhard at 4,800. I would definitely play him at shooting guard over point guard. I do like the Miles McBride call that Beer made, only for GBPs though, not cash games. And if Quentin Grimes plays, I actually don't mind him in GPPs also. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. But definitely going to be Kobe White at either shooting guard or small forward in cash tonight.
Yeah, man, Kobe White. I know he's only, I think, shooting guard eligible, if I'm not mistaken. But no, shooting guard, small forward on DraftKings. But listen, probably one of the best. And I know they started coining this phrase, combo guards around. You know who's got one of the best combo DFS packages? That's going to be your good friends at RG. Play multiple DFS sports. Check out this sweet deal. For a limited time, you get your first month of Combo Pro for $79.99. That's just $15 more than PGA Premium and $5 more than NBA Premium. Talk about a value play. Probably just like Kobe White tonight. Shot quality, folks. You want access to some of the most advanced NBA data in the market. Get shot quality projections from Lineup HQ. That's https://rotogrinders.com/shot quality. You can get 1 month access for $40 or yearly for $200. Just want to give it a test run? Try it for a 3-day pass for $9.99. And I would be remiss to not talk about our props and pick'em package. I know Beer's on the props and pick'em package. Myself is on the props and pick'em package. A lot of our good friends here at RG are on the props and pick'em package. And you can get that now for a discount. The props and pick'em package features daily prop picks and fantasy pick'em selections from many of your favorite RotoGrinders experts. We're knocking 50% off your price for the first month when you sign up with the link below. All right, we're back into this thing. We're going to small forward. Take it away, Tim. What are we doing in cash?
So in cash games, I think you're playing one of OG Anunoby or Josh Hart, assuming that you have Kobe White at the shooting guard spot. These Knicks without Cat, they get a significant usage bump. So getting to one of those two wings, I think, is smart to go along with Jalen Brunson. If you wanted a spend down option, Taylor Horton Tucker, Aaron Nesmith, I think, is somewhat viable for cash games. And then that would be it in terms of cash game considerations for me. Franz Wagner at 8,100 in GPPs, I like quite a bit. And I don't mind going back to Zachary Risachet, who's 4,800. I do like him as a contrarian cheap play at small forward.
Sounds good. Beer, over to you.
I like the Knicks call. I think these guys are viable in tournaments as well with OG and Hart. Like Tim said, that the bump is there. Mikal Bridges could be the guy that maybe gets forgotten. So tournaments, he could be a way to get a little bit different. Those guys are going to have much more ownership. Not super highly owned, but you'll get a nice discount in him. THT, I think the ownership's going to flock. You know, the minutes projection is not huge on him, but he's super cheap. He's going to have to play. Love the Risachet call. I think he's a guy that you can play in any format. I actually prefer him more in GPPs. Just, you know, still an unsteady floor. Not that you can't play him in cash games, but tournaments, he gives you that upside. Love the Wagner call. I think he's a great GPP option here tonight as well. That's pretty much it. We mentioned the Indiana guys who you can slide to small forward here. I mentioned LeVert at shooting guard. That's pretty much it for me tonight.
All right. Let's talk through something really quick here. So I kind of refreshed. We did get some Bulls projections. I'm going to go back to point guard really quick. I know we mentioned Trey Jones. Folks, guys, Beer, Tim, this Trey Jones projection is through the roof right now. How are you guys going to handle Trey? Because, I mean, you know, we've all got access to some type of projection system. I know even our competitors, if you're not, you know, subscribing to RG, you know, guys that we're going to be playing against in these tournaments, they've got their own projections. But I'm assuming all the projection systems are saying, hey, we need to get Trey Jones in our build. I'm going to tend to agree with that. But how is it good chalk? Is it bad chalk? How do you guys view that? And then how high are you willing to go? I mean, when he's just 3,900, I feel like there's this balance of price and projection that we take into account when we're making this type of decision, and also how good the player is. So, like over the weekend, I'll bring this up and then I'll put a bow in it, and then we'll get to you, Beer. We kind of had this scenario with Alec Burks, and then Alec Burks got the start, and we just said, all right, we'll just get rid of Highsmith and go all in on Burks. And right now, I mean, the Bulls with Trey Jones at 3,900 on DraftKings feels kind of like that to me. This might be a lock button if I've never seen one. Beer, what are you thinking? Bad chalk, good chalk? How high do we go?
I think it's good chalk here tonight, and the ownership will get up there. But, you know, rarely do you see a guy that projects this high. You know, and we know NBA is the easiest sport to project out of all the major sports. So the minutes are going to have to be there. I mean, they're missing so many guards. I have a little bit of concern with Kobe White playing. Again, I'm not trying to knock Tim here on the play. Certainly understand it. Not saying you shouldn't play him, but the minutes are going to have to be there just with all of these injuries. So I'm playing him. I think it's a solid play. Cash games to me feels like a lock, a way to save some money. Tournaments, we'll see with the ownership. I'm going to continue to update that and see, you know, is it going to get up to 50, 60%? Then maybe my stance changes. If it's 35, 40%, this is a guy I want across a majority of my lineups tonight.
Sounds good. Tim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now you got to be getting to Trey Jones in cash games. If he plays 32 minutes, he's way too cheap. So I'm fine with Trey Jones in cash. I think we are taking somewhat of a stand on his minutes. which is fine with me. I trust the guys on a projections team. So I love Trey Jones for cash games. In GPPs or like single entry, it kind of depends on what you want to do with the rest of your team. I'm fine with it, but I also do like Ty Jerome quite a bit. So it kind of depends on what you want to do, because I think you should be getting to a Brunson, a Precious, an OG, a Jared Allen. So it kind of leaves you these interesting kind of like 2v2s. So I think you should be getting to one of Trey Jones or Ty Jerome.
Okay, sounds good. You heard it. I'm not going to say you heard it here, folks. That's an old school phrase, but you heard from some of the best in the biz. All right. We were talking about small forward. Did we finish up small forward?
I
think we did.
We're good.
Yeah, I think we're on the power forward.
All right, Tim, we'll stay with you. Power forward. Same situation here now, because Buzelis is through the roof also for his price. So how are we going to handle, I guess, this Bulls value? We knew it would be adjusted. We knew it would probably look tasty. But that doesn't mean we want to play all of it. Similar to Utah on, was that Sunday or Saturday, Tim, where we were like, we can't play this many guys. I think it was Sunday. They were, the Optos were giving us 5 guys from Utah. We're like, that's a bit heavy. It's probably going to be giving us at least 3 Bulls. How do you feel about Mockless? And then let's talk about everybody else.
Yeah, Buzelis is completely fine with me. I think he's a fine cash game play. It's a really, really strong tournament play as well. I do want to play Giannis tonight, though, in cash games. Tournaments, you can do whatever you want, but in cash, I think you should be playing Giannis. Giannis is power forward center, so you could play both. But there's also guys like Precious Achua, who's 5K, projected for 33 minutes. I think he's fine for cash as well. Same thing with OG and Anunoby. So all these guys are viable in cash. So you don't like, I don't think you have to play Buzelis in cash games. But he's certainly projecting outstanding. But I am going to prioritize and recommend Giannis for cash games tonight.
Okay, sounds good. Going pretty much all the way up top. Beer. Let's talk about Giannis. How do you feel about Giannis, just from a tournament perspective, because of all this value? I mean, it's not hard to get to him at 11K. Your thoughts on Giannis, and then let's talk about everybody else.
Love the honest call. This is a position I think most people are going to go cheap at. Probably both power forward, center, and maybe spend up elsewhere. He's going to have some ownership, but I mean, we're talking about the Atlanta Hawks, Chief. You could probably roll out there and drop a double-double on Atlanta. So, two fast-paced teams here. This is a spot that he could smash. So I think you can definitely go that route in tournaments with all the value. Don't hate the Buzelis call. If you want to get off of him, and the projection's not as good, but Julian Phillips, another guy that's going to have to play some minutes, maybe not as much upside as Buzelis provides, but definitely an ownership discount there, and a guy that's a little bit cheaper and definitely a discount on the ownership. Precious Achua, a guy that I'm going to want to get some exposure to here as well. We know the Knicks are going to roll out, a ton of minutes to their starters. So we mentioned pretty much all of them without Karl Anthony Towns. It shows the amount of usage that guy has just spread out to all of these different guys. So Achua's in play as well. Some higher kind of middling guys that, price range that may get squeezed out with people going cheaper or going more expensive to a Giannis. Guys like Banchero, I think, are in play. Naz Reid. I think there's a lot of ways that you can go at power forward, but Buzelis certainly projects the best. I'm not mad at anybody putting him in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned Naz Reid. I think I got to sneeze. Woo! I had a sneeze talk. I had a snort. Anyway, definitely, I love the Naz Reid call. And Naz Reid is somebody that, we've seen him put up some monster games. And I know Julius Randle is back. And so, maybe we need to hop off Beer. But I still think some of that upside is still there, man. It's not like his minutes are falling off of a cliff right now. So as long as the minutes are there, I'm inclined to believe there's still a few 50-point games on the horizon. Love the Naz Reid call. And that's one of those ones where he's getting some ownership, but not enough for me to just decide that I'm going to go somewhere else. So love that. Love Giannis. Love that call, Tim. Let's go to center. Beer, will stay with you. How much Drummond is too much Drummond? And then has the news has all the other injury news changed our outlook on how we might approach Mr. Drummond tonight?
I mean,
somewhat.
yeah.
It hasn't changed it yet. I don't know if we've gotten any Philadelphia updates, but
No.
I mean, how much Drummond is too much Drummond? I think that's to be determined, and see what else happens here tonight. So hopefully we get that answer here soon, and we can kind of rehash that. But Jared Allen looking very, very highly owned. I'm sure Tim will talk about him. I think he's a great cash game play. Again, my concerns are that this game just blows out. Maybe we don't get a full run, but he's cheap at 6,200. So no issues with him. As far as tournament goes, again, Precious Achiuwa, you could slide in this spot, looking very low owned. I like the Bulls centers here, and I prefer Collins over Smith, even with the price difference. We've seen Collins put up some massive numbers. Smith is a guy that kind of plays his 20 minutes and gives you 20, 22 fantasy points. Not horrible at 4K, but it's also not winning you a tournament. So Zach Collins, a guy that I'm going to continue to roll out there. Some feel he's overpriced. All these injuries and Vooch out, I think there's still meat on that bone.
Yeah, sounds good. Collins is a guy I've been playing religiously and targeted for props, so definitely love that call. Tim, center. Let's do this. Andre Drummond versus Jared Allen. I feel like both are in the same spot in reverse, right? Like Allen's on the team that could blow out the other team, and Drummond's on the team that could get blown out. So it's like the same play. What are your thoughts? Let's talk about those two versus each other, and then let's spread it out to everybody else.
Yeah, so our very first RG Optimal has Allen and Drummond in it. So definitely an interesting decision. Don't mind playing both. I think Allen is safer. I think he's the cash game guy. Drummond's completely fine, though, in GPPs, or you can play both. So I think I'd rate Allen a little bit higher, but not a whole heck of a lot. For GPPs, I like Okongwu at 6,200 quite a bit. I think he's going to get squeezed. I do like Brook Lopez as well at 5,800. I do really like that game overall. So I do like both those guys in GPPs. And then other than that, though, really, it's just going to be Allen and Drummond for me. And that's really it. Center is not that great tonight.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's really not. And I feel like for me, that's why I'm seemingly leaning towards everything value. And I'm probably going to play Nas in the forward spot for what it's worth. Like, I don't think I'll get Nas at center. I do think it's an interesting thing would be to just fade all the value centers and just play Nas at center. But like, I still don't think I'm going to do that. I think the value centers is where you need to go. Tim, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of builds where they actually have Giannis at center because power forward is so strong. So I think that's interesting, at least for like large field stuff. Okay.
Sounds good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going over to FanDuel. All I think we need, guys, is if we're doing something different. Because, I mean, we covered, who we like. If you got something that you want to do a slightly different on FanDuel, just let me know. We'll start at point guard. I don't think any secret there. We're still probably going to play Trey Jones. But if you're going to do anything different, just let me know. So I'll kick it over to you, Beer. Trey Jones actually the same price on both sites. We very rarely see that between FanDuel and DraftKings, which might be a discussion point. So if so, fine. What are you doing at point guard that's different?
Yeah, again, anytime you see a FanDuel price near a DraftKings price or even cheaper, it's very rare. So again, he really stands out here. Not a whole ton of a lot different for me here on FanDuel tonight. A lot of similar options. You can make a case for Luka, but 11-2, pretty pricey. I think I'd rather go with a Brunson, even a James Harden, where you're saving $2,000 using that elsewhere. So not much different here. Steph Curry, he's in the other slate. What am I talking about? So that's the main differences for me. Luka, if you wanted to go that route, probably under 10% owned tonight. So that would be the case in tournaments. Luka, low ownership is always something I'm interested in.
Absolutely. Tim, over to you.
The only difference at point guard is James Harden actually rates out better than Brunson, but I'm still going to play Brunson in cash. But Harden does technically rate out better points per dollar than Brunson does. So keep that in mind for GPPs.
Okay, sounds good. Tim, sticking with you. Shooting guard, main differences.
I don't think a whole heck of a lot. We do get to add in Bogdan Bogdanovic at 4,600, shooting guard, small forward. I think he's a pretty strong value. So that is one difference. But other than that, Kobe White's still the guy for me. I still like Quentin Grimes quite a bit as well. But really just the Bogdanovic add to the slate, I think is pretty important for value at shooting guard.
Okay, sounds good. Moving to small forward, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, we got to talk about LeBron, right? I mean, so he's 10K. He's currently popping in a lot of optimals on FanDuel right now. So he gets a really, really strong matchup. He's relatively inexpensive, at least for the matchup. He's a standout play in all formats. So definitely get some exposure to LeBron tonight. He's my favorite Laker. So yeah, I think that's the only thing to note about FanDuel.
Okay. Beer, going to come back to you. I skipped over you on shooting guard. My bad. Any differences in shooting guard?
I'm going to give you the same guy that's shooting guard and small forward. Dalton Connect is a guy that I'm going to add to the pool here. So I was good to see him kind of produce last game, get more minutes. So I think his role will steadily grow. I don't know if they're feeling bad, trying to, okay, we're sorry we traded you. Now you're back. I know it was a little awkward there, but I do think this is a guy that they want to get going as they head on a little playoff run here. I like the Bogdanovic call as well here. No other major differences. Kawhi Leonard, obviously, in the mix here. He's intriguing, but not going on him away for him. But Connect, a guy I really like on FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, 4,100 too. Like that's another value play that people actually might not get to because they want the Bulls value. So love that call. Like that one for sure. All right, we'll stay with you, Beer. We're moving to power forward. Any differences?
Nothing really stands out power forward wise. Again, LeBron power forward eligible here, so that's interesting. But most of the names I'm utilizing at power forward are in the early slate, and nothing here on the late slate that I'm really adding. So I don't know if Tim has anything, but I'm not seeing many major differences here at power forward.
I think Dorian Finney-Smith is okay value for GPPs, but that's really, really it.
That guy's the bane of my existence, so that's why I didn't mention him. We all have our list of guys that you just don't play.
The never again list. Yeah,
it's on my wall. Like
mine is Aaron Gordon. I just don't play Aaron Gordon ever, and I typically come out okay. His 50-point game a season, I'll live with it. Oh man, love that.
I do want to say one more thing about power forward is Precious Achua's price on FanDuel is outstanding. Yes. It's 4,400. He's a much better play on FanDuel than he is DK. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Love that. Everybody got their power forward plays in. Tim, I think you got yours. Beard, you got yours. Yep. Moving to center. Tim, kick us off with center, and then once we wrap this up, I'll start talking through some questions with the subs.
Yeah, on FanDuel, Jarrett Allen actually has power forward eligibility. So if you just want to like a pure center, I think Andre Drummond is the play. But also Jackson Hayes at 4,200 is a really strong points per dollar play. And I do like Zubac in GPPs.
Yeah, Zubac's been really good. I mean, pretty much cranking out 40 fantasy points every night with upside for 50. Can't go wrong with that at 7,500. Beer, center, over to you.
Same names. I really like Jackson Hayes. I don't know about in tournaments. His ownership nearing 30%. I think there's other ways you can go and save yourself some ownership there. Drummond, half the ownership, so I'd probably spend that money. I've been in cash games. I think it's a decent savings at 4,200. Great point on the Achua price and that flexibility at 4,400. Not much else. Trey Jamison, interesting on the cheap, but I don't want to lock up a center spot on Trey Jamison. Probably not going to get enough minutes, but I think it's another guy whose role could grow as they search for a big. They need somebody. Thought they had Mark Williams in the house. Hayes has seemingly filled that bill, but maybe Jamison gets some more opportunity down the road. But for tonight, I agree with Tim. Achua and Jackson Hayes look like solid values.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to take it to questions, guys. I'm going to start in the live stream chat. So if any of you are in the live stream chat, I'm starting there. I'm starting with our first question at 6:33. This is coming from BHan4987. DK single entry. Let's stay with you, Tim. Lonnie Walker the fourth or THT? Who's your choice there?
Wow. I guess it's THC. Yeah.
Interesting. My answer might actually be neither, but either way.
Well, that wanted to be my answer. I didn't know that
You
was
didn't give him that option.
I
Yeah, that's not what he asked, but that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. My bad. Didn't mean to hijack the question. This is coming from Achilles. I think this is more of a rhetorical question. Will Bogdan make a shot tonight? He probably will make at least one. Achilles. This is coming from. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Beer.
No, I'm just saying. We hope he does.
Yeah. Yeah. This is coming from. Now, this one he asked TJ, but TJ's not on the show, so Beer, this one will be for you. Favorite play. Sorry, this will be for Tim. Favorite play 4,900 or less for DK cash.
Yep. Probably going to be Buzelis, 4,700.
Okay. Yep, sounds good. I like it. This is the FanDuel cash 2v2. Everybody got some cash questions. I'll just give this one to you, Beer. Mitchell and Franz, or Kobe and LeBron. So I'm assuming that they want Donovan Mitchell. That's going to be my assumption. Mitchell and Franz, or Kobe White and LeBron.
I mean, both good combos there. I'm going to go with Mitchell and Franz, but that's almost a coin flip, and that's the point of 2v2s. But I'll go. I still have a little bit of concern with Kobe White, so Mitchell and Franz.
Gotcha. This is from F. Reyes. Tim, this is for you. DK Cash 2v2. Mitchell Buzelis or Franz Drummond.
I'd go. I think Franz Drummond, but they're both good.
Okay, got it. Another DK Cash. This for you, Tim. Any issue with Paolo and Franz? Both.
I would not play both in cash games.
Yeah, I would not either. I am hopping back in the YouTube chat. Here we go. I'm actually going to answer this one because I am playing him tonight. This comes from Butthole Jenkins. Karis LeVert been low-key killing it lately. Is he an option? Yes, he is. This is how much Knicks is too much Knicks in DK single entry small field Beer.
I mean, I love the minutes for the starters. So I would say I'm comfortable at 2, 3. You might be pressing it a little bit, but in that 2 to 3 range. 2 will be my answer here.
All right. Philip Rawlings. This is for you, Tim. $5,400 left for a power forward on DK. $5,400 left for a power forward on DK. Who are you going with? Actually have some options here tonight.
I would go with Precious.
Okay, sounds good. Precious is $5K. Should be playing big minutes tonight. Love that call. I know TJ was saying Lonnie Walker could be a smash if the Philly guys are out. We'll be praying for that. This is from Mr. Richard for Tim. Aside from Brunson, who is the must play for a DK single entry GPP?
That's a tough one. I'm trying to think if Trey Jones is a 3 out of 3. Probably not. He's probably a 2 out of 3 for me. I think Josh Hart or OG. So I guess OG would be a 3 out of 3 for me. They're just gonna play so many minutes. So yeah. I really like those starters tonight.
Okay, this is from James Brown. I'll keep looking over to you, Beer. He's asking about Reed Shepherd. Going a little deep here. Obviously, Reed got the start in the previous game. Do we think he starts again? He's 3,600.
I don't know if he starts again. And I don't. Do we have that lineup? I mean, we have to have it.
Which one? Which one was it?
Reed Shepherd. Houston, Indiana.
I don't think we have those yet. We don't.
Yeah, and that game is coming up in 4 minutes.
So if he's starting, I don't have an issue with. Are we going to get a game like we saw the other night? No, but shows that he has upside. So you love to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Trying to get down to the questions here. Niang or Achua, FanDuel GPP. I'm going to Achua. I'm going to answer that one for us. Trent and Niang for value for DraftKings GPPs. Beer.
Who was it? I didn't get the first
Trent and Niang. Sorry.
I don't mind Niang.
Okay.
I
right.
mean, he's not a super exciting option, but he's a guy that's been playing minutes. Reed Shepherd not starting, according to the chat, and TJ.
Got it.
Which, not surprised.
Yeah, same here. Not surprised at all. Tim, Dunn, Trent Jr., Bogey, or McBride. Who are you choosing out of that group?
McBride. What were the other options? McBride's my favorite.
Bogey, Dunn, Trent Jr., Bogey, McBride.
I don't really like any of them outside of McBride.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go with any Doughton for FanDuel GPP value, or go with Trey Jones. That's for you, Beer. Doughton from Philly, obviously. We're going with him, or we're just going to stick with Trey Jones?
I think Trey Jones just going to project better. Philly's intriguing, but I'm sticking with Trey Jones.
Sounds good. Let me see. Okay, Curry. We got a Houston on. He's not starting. Good. All right, QQ. Wendell Carter or Brooke Lopez for DK, Tim? I think I know your answer.
Those are both, I think, really strong options for GPPs. I think it's Brooke Lopez.
Okay, yep, I figured that. Best DK GPP forward plays under 4K, Beer.
Wow, digging deep here. So I mentioned Julian Phillips earlier. Him and Dallin Terry, probably my favorites. I don't love this price range. THT down here as well, but I think he'll have some ownership. Jacoby Walter could be interesting with some of the injuries there. So there's some options. Nobody I really love. I'll say Julian Phillips, Dallin Terry are probably my favorites.
Okay, sounds good. And this is coming from Justin Jennings. Do we have to play anybody from the 7 p.m. games? Ironically, I don't think you have to today. I do like Wendell Carter. I do like Franz. I do like Paolo. I don't think they're must plays. How do you guys feel about the 7 p.m. stuff?
I kind of like Andrew Nemhard, but that's really it. For the most part, I agree with you, Chief.
Yeah. Beer?
No must plays out of there for me.
Yeah. Now, if we start moving to the 7:30 games, I have a totally different outlook.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we have to play anyone from the other ones. So yeah, there you have it. Let me see. Yeah, Tim.
We had a question about Corey Joseph, Chief, and I would not play him.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Any Kelly Oubre love? This is probably one of our last ones up to lot. Get up to you, Beer. Any Kelly Oubre love?
Kelly Oubre has been hanging out with me in the six pack a lot this season, hanging out in the fantasy bar. So I'm a Kelly Oubre fan for sure. A guy that can provide offense, can hit all the other categories. So I think he's a guy that you can play in any format. Gives you the floor, and can pop off for the ceiling as well. So yes, much Kelly Oubre love here from the Beer Man.
Got it. And we have hit lock. And guess what? I got my single entry team built right under the gun. Feeling really good about it, guys. Got some guys in there that we talked about. I will say, I think my sleeper play is Karis LeVert tonight. I was able to get him in. Doesn't start until 7:30. So if anybody else wants to get him in, no, I did not give that in so nobody else could play it. Got plenty of time. Still got 30 minutes. He's available. But thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with us. Beer, any final thoughts before we close out?
No, good to be on a show with you. And Tim, I haven't done many shows with him either, so it's good hanging out with you guys. Chat was active, which we always love here. Great questions, and somebody go win some money tonight.
Absolutely. Tim, any final thoughts?
Nope. Thanks, guys. Great show, and good luck.
All right. This has been the Crunch Time Show on RotoGrinders.com. Thank you guys for joining us. You have been